Welcome to another episode of Resortera Wave. October 26th, almost to Halloween. Um, Almost November already too. Two more months in the 2000. No, what is it? 2022.
Yes.
I was about to say 2002. You. It's because we're going back. We're going back in
Yeah.
time today.
Yes.
So today is called the Chelito Delgado show. That it says right there on the banner or that thing that's moving the tick. Um, and the reason I wanted to do this one is because I don't know if there's that many analysis out there about who Chelito Delgado was and what Chelito Delgado did. You know, he played in Cruz Azul, and so of course we got Oscar here. You know all the details of that, you
Hmm.
know, moment or time of the era of Chelito in Cruz Azul, and then he also played for Monterrey after a stint in Lyon, where he
He was
played
more
Champions
successful in
League.
Monterrey than Cruz Azul, yeah, and then Leon, like you mentioned,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was successful in the sense of maybe, championships and stuff like that, no? Pero I think essentially, when you think of a player or when you think about a footballer that has impacted a club, even if there wasn't, a titles and stuff like that, but like if Chelito Delgado goes to a Cruz Azulino, they melt or something happens because he's that sort of like legend, no? Or the type of player that beloved by the fans because of the show that he put on the field. So what we're gonna try to do today is just relive some of those moments. We got some videos here that we found on YouTube and stuff through the weeks. We'll look at old lineups, see a little bit of where he really moved on the field. The type of player that he was. But yeah, an exciting one, Oscar, no? To talk about Chelito Delgado.
Yeah, I mean, an emotional one, Nayib, to be honest. I mean, for a lot of people, especially like my age and whoever got introduced to Cruz Azul during my time, the standout player was Chelito. He was the highlight man. Like I said, I think nowadays I feel kind of bad for younger kids now growing up watching Liga MX just because it's not a bad thing, but because the exposure of European football and just global football nowadays, everyone's favorite player now probably was, Messi, Cristiano. But for me, it was Chelito was my Messi. He was my CR7. He was my
Yeah.
phenomenal, So it's a special. He's a special player to a lot of young kids out there.
No, and look, I think we can just hop in the videos and share, what we have here. I mean, or what we can sort of see. You know, there's this goal. Um, there's this goal against Tigres that he scored, and
One of the most viral ones there. Yeah.
and like the reason I'm putting it is because I mean the way that this technical skill was just beyond me. The way he just put it on this is Chelito Delgado, no? The full expression of it.
See, yeah.
There's a player that, the gambeteador, that would do these kind of like crazy moves.
The
Um,
creativity, the technical ability, just everything, man. It's just the injuries more than anything prevented him from being maybe that next level, but
this is one.
nonetheless, man.
I'm gonna share another one. This one, this is a goal against Pachuca. Um, Here, right here. This is what he had also, ¿no? Break, quebrar la cintura.
Los recortes más que nada, ¿no?
Los
Like
recortes, yeah. This is another one. This is gonna be another one. But I got a better video because the live call of this one against Jaguares. You remember that one, no?
yeah.
That
I
one.
think
I
those
think
ones are his most viral ones. I think the
yeah.
Tigres
Before
one,
before
that one,
TikTok and all that.
yeah.
This would be flames in TikTok. This is my favorite Chelito goal, I think. This Jaguares side had Cabañas when Cabañas had arrived to Mexico. So, and look how the stadium was packed.
Yeah. Football was different back then too. Yeah.
Buenas tardes, señoras y señores. Bienvenidos a Deporte B. Aquí estamos ya con este partido donde Cruz Azul fue mejor que el equipo de Jaguares y ganó merecidamente.
And the thing with Chelito, no, it was also with both legs, no? Derecha y izquierda.
Yeah, that's why just that.
Rafa Puente.
It's just type of players that you just don't see nowadays anymore. I think the game's a lot more physical nowadays. Like those technical, proficient players that they're just not there anymore.
Who did you prefer seeing him up top with, Oscar? Did you enjoy those days with Kikín, or were you a fan when it was Lucho Figueroa?
Yeah. I mean, he was just one of those players, man, that like it didn't matter who was up there with him.
Yeah.
I think it highlighted more with the Kikín lineup just because, like, I mean, just look at what Kikín offers and the way he made him. I mean, I mentioned this before. Chelito was so good, he got Kikín a move to Europe. That's how good he was compared to the other player.
Yeah.
Compared to the other guy, he was just good all around, and they played it with each other in Rosario Central también, so they had that connection as well. But I think the Kikín one is the one that stood out the most, especially because they played a lot together longer. But yeah, man, it was those were the fun times. We weren't winning, but it was fun to watch.
It was fun to watch. And right now I'm gonna share this one that you sent me. So this give a little bit of a spiel on what is this one about, Oscar.
Yeah, so this was the Vuelta. This is one of like the last games I remember him playing. And believe it or not, one of the biggest criticisms someone like a Chelito, even a Chaco Jimenez gets is that they fold into pressure, I guess, or they don't step up in the big games.
Yeah.
But I mean, depending who you ask, Nayib, certain people, if you only score goals and assists, that's what only matters. But if you only score goals and assists, football's not only goals and assists. So depending who you ask, it's like you're never gonna please anyone. But the influence that he had on the game, like especially in the final third, I mean, you could just see I remember this game clearly. Like he was obviously providing something in the final third. He just at the end of the day we got eliminated, and he didn't get a hat trick, assist. But you could just they had the Chivas players on skates and on their toes the entire game. And he was just, he was just involved. You know what I mean?
This one was a very solid Chivas side. No, they were having successful times in La Libertadores and everything.
Mm-hmm. No, might have been just before the World Cup, I think, too.
Yeah.
It's 2006.
Está Bofo todavía, no? Yeah. Is this the one they go on to win in Toluca with Chepo de la Torre? Or am I...
Maybe. No, this was after, no?
It was before? Porque hay Tapata Araujo, Magallón.
Who's in goal?
¿Es Osvaldo?
Maybe. No, but yeah, this is just one of those things where, like I said, one of the criticism he does get, because like you said, maybe the silverware doesn't necessarily represent what he offered to the team or how successful he was at the club. Because at the end of the day, I don't think he won a single trophy, not even like a Copa MX or even one of those, campeones de campeones that we have now, those type of cups.
Has there been a player in Cruz Azul with this level since him? Do you think? And this is considering that Cruz Azul already won the league, no? That ya se quitó the curse.
Just straight talent, technical, no, not even close. I mean, right. Statistically, I think maybe Cabecita probably has more goals and assists to him than was Cruz Azul, but that's where I go. Some people who look at the way they look at football is they'll be like, okay, he's a great player, but he has no end product. He doesn't have the goals and the assists. But again, if you only score goals and assists, the game is not only goals and assists, so it depends. But just look at this. Does Cabecita do that?
No,
I love Cabecita, but
no, and I think this guy is doing it on both sides of the field, man. He's doing it on the left and on the right. I mean, he's not a winger. He's a number 10, no? But he has instances of a winger. Cuando le veo gambetear, me recuerda a Neymar. Neymar has some gambeta de Chelito.
Yeah. You think?
Yeah. Of course, Neymar is Neymar, I understand that, but
Oh, I
That
understand what you mean. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, especially when he was sticking more on the right hand side, he would definitely do that. I mean, if you see right here, he's on the left
yeah. But
too.
look
I
how he
mean,
receives the ball and he takes on three players.
hmm that too, Nayib. I don't think people gave him that much credit too. I mean, if you look at him, he wasn't like the biggest guy, but if you try to tackle him, you couldn't tackle him down. He has that kind of messy element to him. Like it doesn't matter how hard you're gonna hit him, he'll stay on his feet and he'll still try to take on and continue the play. Yeah, man, just a special player. That's my childhood right there. And I wanted the blonde tips. My mom said no. Uh, the celebration that I did that when I was younger, when I was still playing a forward, until as you get to the higher level, you get dropped down to positions.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, just no matter how much I would try to replicate that, I just couldn't. I wasn't born with that technical ability.
Do you think the modern game prevents more chelitos?
Of course, you
You
haven't heard.
know?
There's a bunch of interesting pieces right now. How the game has gotten way more physical. I mean, one of the biggest things right now is the death of the number 10.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
no
yeah.
longer really exists. I think we even had a conversation back with even with the Revs with Carles Gil.
Yeah.
Those type of players like a Santi Carzola, in his time, James, he was never given a proper shot, but all those type Ozil with Arsenal, those type of players just don't exist anymore. I think there's, like I said, the game has just advanced so much where the physical aspect is starting to creep up a little bit more than the spectacle and what football can truly be, in a sense. But yeah, I do agree. What do you think about that? Because you've seen over the years too how much
Yeah,
it's
yeah. No,
changed more than
I
me.
think it's a very, very interesting situation because I've seen a lot of players with that quality that Chelito has. Um, for example, my time with the Red Bulls, the 2 years with the Red Bulls, especially the first year, I enjoyed my time seeing Kaku, no, and
Mm,
just from preseason all the way to the end of the season. And Kaku was that sort of player, good left foot and a really tenía mucha pausa. When he got on the ball, he could do magic. And he comes from the Argentinian school, no?
yeah, yeah.
He grew up in Huracan. So to see him live, in training sessions and also, you know, there's certain things that I think get lost with how football is now seen, like the pressing issues, how
Yeah.
you defend,
Hmm.
where do you move, where do you put the pressing, where do you pass and all that stuff. But I remember one training session with Kaku. It was cold. It was like in January, February, I remember. And you could just tell the quality that he had. I mean, he whenever he wanted to shoot hard and take the ball and take control of the practice session, it was just obvious, no, that esa facilidad or
Yeah, yeah.
the tact to know the field and know where and when to shoot, where to shoot, to whom to pass. And those characteristics nowadays get lost with all this physicality, no, or this sort of you got to make those runs specifically. You got to cover this much
Cover
ground,
the space. Yep.
and I understand that because it's a way of winning. There's no proper way of saying what wins. But I think
Hmm.
the more quality players you have on the field that can sense the game like Chelito Delgado does, or like I said, like Kaku does, you have a better shot of winning
Hmm.
because that quality is not so much of the physicality. It's more of the mind games, no, like how you read the game. And I think that's one of the things with Chelito that really stood out for me was he understood the games, where to move, cómo gambetear, no. It wasn't a gambeta to like show off because, for example, Tecatito has that a lot. I mean, it's like he shows off a lot and does a little dance stuff,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
it sometimes doesn't produce anything at the end.
yeah. He has
With
no end product, in my opinion. Yeah.
when Chelito did it, there was many times there was an end product. There was a pass, there was a shot on goal.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
gambetta was a way to take on three defenders, basically, or two or three, whatever. and you made an end product. And sometimes I think a lot of players, a lot of young kids now, they just don't have that end product, and that's why the coach says stop doing the gambetta, because nothing is happening. With Chelito, especially because he would do the gambetta, and look what happened, no? And you see that with players like Messi, for example. Messi can do túneles and stuff like that, and you know that there's going to be an end product. Neymar as well. But I think it's more structure, more stringent, no, with what goes on.
Yeah, I mean, like nowadays, what is a modern number 10, or even like modern type of players like Chelito? Like for me, like the closest things that would like come to like a 10 for me nowadays is like a Bernardo Silva, a Kevin De Bruyne, but they're not quote unquote the 10s we grew up watching, but they are the modern number 10s now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. Well, the thing also is now with how it is, and Iniesta, was he a 10? You know what I mean? Or
yeah.
Is Busquets, is he a 10? Busquets is a 6, no, and an 8, because he does a lot of things as a number 10 as well.
Mm-hmm.
No, Riquelme was another one, no, that in our generation. It's like it's H grew up looking up at Riquelme, just to have an idea of the type of player that he is. So right now I'm just putting here, working with this. There was one game that was looking at the lineup. I think it was in 2005, and it was a game between Cruz Azul and America. And I believe it was like the semis or the quarterfinals, one of those two. I don't quite remember. And the attack had these three. So it was Chelito, Kikín, and Pavón, fíjate.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's. I feel like Chelito was that sort of player that would just like move here whenever he needed, he could move here. This is sort of the ground that he covered, no?
Yeah, anywhere in that final third, he was just, he put his stamp on it and create.
Yeah, and then like when we were talking about De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva, well, Pep, those players usually are here.
Mm-hmm.
No? So I see them more here in this area. And
they cover a lot of ground too. I mean, I watch a lot of Bernardo Silva, and he, like you said, he's in that area where you are right now with Chelito. Like back then, if Chelito tried to do that, he would not be able to do that. I don't think he would even get a start, really, if the modern coach would try to do what he's doing there.
Yeah, because now I mean that's another thing. It's like now more footballers is like the more ground you cover and the more you can come on this area, the better, no? And now it's like,
there's less risk more than anything.
Yeah, and it's the whole idea of like the compactness, no? You have to be more close together. Like the lines have to be more close together. So that means that the shift, it happens more closeness. And that's the thing with Tata Martino and his 4-3-3. When we talk about it, it's like, damn, there's like no, like it's so many golfs. No, it's un golfo.
Yeah.
But Chelito Delgado, he played in Champions League. He actually played in the semis of a Champions League against Bayern Munich, no? So it's like I was looking at the lineup of one of those games as well, and we're gonna share it here on the screen. But here it is. Mm-hmm. Here's the lineup. So chiquito, pero like for Bayern Munich, Van Buren, Lam, De Michelis, Contento, Schweinsteiger, Pranjic, Robben, Ribéry,
Olic. Yeah, Müller was already playing. Yeah.
Alaba was on the bench. Look.
Mm-hmm. He didn't break out till a couple of years after this, but yeah.
And then for Lyon, Lloris was already the goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
Rebellier, Tulalan, Chris, Sissoko, Hallstrom, Gonalon, Ederson, Chelito, Janic, and Lopez were the attackers.
Mm-hmm.
So here it says that it was a 4-2-3, a 4-3-2-1.
Was this the same year where they took out Real Madrid out in the round of 16?
It could be.
And then in that series, I think. So before.
In los octavos de final.
Yeah. So that was Cristiano's first year, and that was his first time getting exit out the round of 16 since God knows how long. And then he just recently got knocked out with Man U last year, and that was the first time in God knows what 10 years now, almost.
Yeah, look, Kaká, Diarra, Guti, Granero, Cristiano, Higuaín. And here with Leon, I mean, Govou was important. Macon, Tulalan, I remember. Janic, Delgado.
I remember only catching a couple games because I don't think at least for me, I was never able to get that much like coverage of the French league, at least where I was at the time,
Yeah,
or I don't know my cable package my dad had back at the time.
yeah,
But one of the big things I remember too when I finally found out, because like I said, when he left, I was like under like what 11, 10 years old, and in the FIFA games, I would always buy him back
yeah.
from Leon. Everyone I could. But yeah, I mean, just watching his career, man. Like I said, it's a little emotional because, like I said, that's my childhood right there in a sense.
Yeah.
And
No, and then you make this question of like top 5 foreigners that have played in Liga MX, no? I don't know if Chelito would enter in that realm.
unfortunately, not just because of the trophy. I mean, you have to win trophies, Nayib,
Yeah, yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah. I mean, in here, and that it takes time. To be honest, right now, on top of my head, I wouldn't be able to say the 5 concretely. I mean, I can think of Gignac, for example, or Saturnino Cardoso,
Yeah, I can do that. I can't give an order, but I can name you like guys I've seen. Like the way
and
I look at it,
then
Nayib.
my dad talks a lot about El Superman Marin, the goalkeeper for Cruz Azul, no, and what he did. And then in America, they talk about El Reynoso all the time, no? But I didn't see him play. But
Who Reynoso praised Cruz Azul this week. I don't know what he said. I
yeah, I
don't know.
saw him.
I
I
mean, I'm
saw it.
just
I
saying. I
saw it.
gotta throw it in there. I gotta throw it
Yeah, yeah. And then he
in.
admitted it's the greatest team that he's ever seen play. And that's true. I mean, it was the 70s. Um,
Oh,
you
I wish
know,
I could go back in time
yeah, a
to
lot
that
of
era.
no, when you go to Mexico, bro, and you talk to people that know about the game, like señores, así de
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's one of my
40 and
favorite things when
up,
I go over there. Yeah.
they always talk about that Cruz Azul. And they speak of it like it's Real Madrid, bro. And then you think about it nowadays with how the current situation had been for many years, you're like, that actually existed, no? Um, so like that's what I'm telling you. It's but from my point of view, like if he is one of my favorites. I mean, when I think about favorite Liga MX players, I put Chelito Delgado up there. You know, alongside, for example, Cuauhtémoc Blanco. You know, that goes way beyond that because he's Mexican and played for the national team. But I'm not gonna lie, when I saw Chelito Delgado and how he played, you would fall in love with the game because he just made you want to watch every Cruz Azul game, even if you didn't cheer for Cruz Azul. Now, in my household, nobody wanted to watch Cruz Azul. It was Chivas or
Yeah.
America.
And
But
just
I wanted
imagine if he
to,
had won trophies too.
yeah,
Like for me, like I said, half of my family's from Guadalajara, and one of my cousins, he's a big Cardoso fan. And because of him, he became a Toluca fan, and he was born and raised in Guadalajara, and
yeah.
the influence that Pepe Cardoso had, and he was just phenomenal, man.
No,
That's
and
how.
and then you would see nowadays, for example, with little kids that look up at Gignac. I
Yeah,
mean,
Kignac, yeah, he's up there. Hmm.
In even Ciudad de Mexico, there's little kids that go for Tigres because of Gignac.
Yeah,
No, and I think that's pretty special the way that and Gignac has been cool because the way that he has embraced Mexican culture.
without a
That
doubt.
I don't think people really talk about that, but that is very, very important for to gain a big following from the Mexican crowd. Um, Chelito Delgado also was a part of that Argentinian team, right? That won the gold medal in Beijing in
Yep.
2008, I believe, or
Yeah, he was involved all the
2004.
way. Yeah, he was all the way. I think he was in the camps for the Confederations too. I don't think he
Yeah.
made the final list, just like he got cut out from the 2006.
Yeah, I think
But
he was
yeah, he
involved.
was
I think it
involved.
was 2004, 2008. I'm not sure. 2004.
Hmm.
It was in Athens. I
But
remember
his
in 2004.
this competition then, like it was like I think you can still keep him on the bench, but to start it would have been difficult. I mean, you had prime Riquelme, you had young Messi just breaking into Barcelona. It was always going to be hard to compete in that. But yeah, man, he was.
Yeah,
That's how good
no,
he
and
was.
and look, the reality is, I don't know. I mean, how football is nowadays. we talked in this show about, the alliance with MLS. And for example, when you see MLS and Atlanta United specifically, I think if Atlanta United had existed back then, maybe they would have gotten Chelito,
Think
with how the market is working now. Because I mean, look what Atlanta United has done in the last years. I mean,
MLS
they
in
got,
general. I mean, LAFC is doing the same thing. They're basically grabbing all the young talent that we used to do in Liga MX, and they're doing it over here.
yeah. So maybe he wouldn't have landed in Mexico. But it was different times. And the fact that Cruz Azul got, we mentioned Lucho Figueroa. Lucho Figueroa was a big grab back then as well, because then he went on to play in Europe with, I think he went to Villarreal right after Cruz Azul. But those were the type of stories. And to be honest, it's he was influential. I'm pretty sure a lot of kids that grew up or that are now playing in Liga MX or whatnot. I mean, they saw what Chelito did, and how he played.
No, without a doubt. I mean, I think every academy graduate from Cruz Azul that has gone to play in the first team, which has not been a lot because we don't give the opportunity. At least right now we're starting to. But in the times like Taquino times, if they lose times, it was not coming. But the ones that did break in, they always said Chelito was, idolo. Like he was like a god to the kids back then. I mean,
Yeah.
and you kind of see it in a sense with Aquino, even if they lose some little bits of it, you could definitely see it. But yeah, man, he just the stamp he had on the club, and I mean, it's a big what if, right? Like, but imagine if he had just one league title, I think he would
Yeah.
have captured we'd have the same thing as a Gignac, I think.
Yeah, no, and like we said early on in the show, I mean, it's hard to see another Chelito case or another player that played like. I mean, if you had to say a player from right now that kind of plays like Chelito,
Or even just have that technical ability where his physical presence isn't much needed. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I don't think there's a single one, Nayib, to be honest. I'm trying to think through all the teams right now, even the last 5 years.
yeah, because and I think it also has to do with the dynamics of the game and how they're changing, no, the
Yeah,
sort of vertical sort of you see it with America with Jonat with Cabecita, or you just mentioned Cabecita with Cruz Azul. There was a lot of directness that made him stand out, no, that's why he scored so many goals.
yeah,
um and with Chelito was a little bit of pausa, was a little bit. I mean, he was the type of player that could define a whole game, that could finish the game off by himself.
yeah.
But he was also a creator and a facilitator, So
Yeah,
it's,
perfect words for them. Yeah,
yeah. So
definitely.
now I'm thinking about what player kind of emulates that. I
I'm
mean,
trying. Let's go. Just the two finalists. Oh, by the way, completely butchered it.
yeah.
Sorry, guys.
No,
um,
los salamos. Hey, I hope this is gonna stay on the show. But like the way that I talked about the national team, that they're not gonna make it out of the group stage. I hope it happens sort of like how it happened with the final thing, because I was pretty sure it was gonna be America in Monterrey, but it was
to be fair,
total.
we didn't really analyze. If we really, I think we were just, because we were just talking.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if
and
we had
especially
really
me, bro.
analyzed, yeah,
If you've been following my social accounts, I've been following the Astros run. I was
yeah.
in Yankee
Oh,
Stadium this weekend.
congratulations! Oh yeah, nice. You went to it. Thank you for
Uh-huh.
that, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. So I was there, and so like I haven't been paying attention to the Liga MX games, to be honest.
So let's going back to it.
Yeah.
Sorry, America. Actually, not sorry. I don't care about the America fans, but Monterrey. Sorry, guys. But just looking at the two finalists, who has, for you look at their whole squad, who has a player that has even remotely close to like a Chelito type, where it's like a player who just has such quality and technical ability, where they can really express themselves to the fullest.
Could it be Meneses, el chileno Meneses from Toluca, or the Uruguayan they have, Leo Fernandez, the one that couldn't do it in Tigres? Are those kind of the players a little bit, or
Those will definitely be the closest, just
the
because the way they
closest?
orchestrate
Tampoco,
the final
tampoco.
third.
They're
Yeah,
Chelito though. They're not Chelito.
I'm gonna look at the squad real quick for both of them, because especially the way Nacho. I mean, just if you looked at the last game against Toluca, like if I mean, like you said, it's so hard because football has
You know
changed.
who?
Because
You
when
know,
Toluca was protecting the
do
league,
you remember Lucas Lobos who played for Tigres?
he's in. For me, I know he didn't win. He's in one of my favorite players that I've seen.
Was he kind of similar to Chelito? Would you say, or a little bit different? I
In
mean,
that
maybe
realm, very different.
the body type was similar. That's for
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites. But
That's what I'm telling you. I mean, it's just not a Chelito.
yeah,
I haven't seen one like that, like him. You know, and that's I think I don't know if that's fault because of how the game is changing,
I
or
think it's
is
that. It's that like you said. I mean, it has to be because, like you said, how many modern quote unquote number 10s that we grew up watching play in the most elite teams in the world right now? You can't name one. Real Madrid doesn't have your classic number 10. Bayern Munich sure doesn't. Barcelona doesn't. Even Messi with PSG, he's not really number 10 there either.
yeah,
Maybe Neymar you can give it to, but even him, he's more of a winger still.
yeah. No, we'll see. I mean, I think it's a good question to leave out there. No, and see if there's another one that could like be close to what he was. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think the next weeks there'll be definitely content out there to talk about. We'll try to figure out another one of these shows and see if um, it's of your liking. You know, thanks for the watches. I think there's been quite a good number, a good average we have. I mean, it's something out there without that much
Hmm.
promotion.
Yeah.
So I thank you for watching them, and you know, make sure to subscribe, and hopefully we can do more of these. I mean, as always, Oscar, great chatting with you, and hopefully we can get another one of these going next week.
Yeah, likewise, Abe. Appreciate all the interaction, guys, and like I said, the views. If you guys can leave your personal favorite foreign player to ever come that you experience, I mean, would love that in the comments, even on Twitter. It'd be great. Because like I said, there's so many. I mean, real quick, Chucho Benitez for me, one of the
Oh
players I
yeah.
saw. He's not like a Chelito, pero like just like the directness, the somewhat influ.
La Chita Ludueña too, when he played in Tecos and then
Yeah,
went to Santos, also had
Chupete
special things.
Suazo from Monterrey. I mean, we're gonna go on the ramble here, but guys, we just named right there. I mean,
Yeah.
and then, but yeah, thank you guys again. It's fun talking this type of stuff.
All right. Thanks for watching Resortera Wave. Have a great week, and then we'll be back next week with another topic that has to do with Mexican football.